Hey guys, hope your holidays are going well, and if not, it may be an opportunity to count your blessings, because if we remember exactly 1 year ago, Lee Sun Kyun, the very talented actor, you may have known him from My Mister or Parasite, went into the police station for 19 hours of questioning and then emerged on Christmas Eve. Then on December 27th, he was found unalived. They say, of course, as a recap, that he did it himself. He was found in a car in a very remote park in the northern part of Seoul. You can check out some of my other videos where I actually visited the site, covered the site. And he was found in a very old school self-unaliving method of a charcoal briquette in the car. I still find that highly suspicious. I still don't believe that it was his decision. But we do have some updates on a trial and a verdict for the two blackmailers that even the court said in its ruling that their actions, the two blackmailers' actions, contributed greatly to Lee Sun Kyun's final decision. Now, on the surface, the news item that we had from last week about the two verdicts handed down on the two blackmailers, their prison sentences, is the actual front story. Yes, Madam A, Actress B, we'll call them that. They were prison sisters. They were both working at a very high-end hostess bar called The Good Place. And The Good Place, actually, even a few months after all of this happened, was back up in operation as some other name. I went there to just kind of see the empty shell of it and then try to report on what was going on. But already, dang, there was security guards, mafioso looking people, and, business going back and forth. And that was last, I want to say, spring, when it was still cold. Maybe it was either the February-March period, or maybe it was the May period, somewhere in there. But the hidden story that is not being told, or told in very sparse details, is the actual person still at large behind this whole thing. And she may not even be the biggest whale behind the whole things, but behind the two blackmailers was definitely this ongoing case with the Dairy Princess that we have covered as well, the third generation chaebol, essentially an heir to the Namyang Dairy Empire. Instead of focusing on the milk business, honey, she making her milk money somewhere else in the name of illicit substances, in the name of Burning Sun, where she was also implicated, in the name that she has been saved by her rich family and powerful connections since, I believe, 2012-ish is when we first saw documented, trouble that she was in, definitely during the whole Burning Sun incident. And then now there's even an Interpol manhunt for her, because apparently she is hiding out in Thailand. But we'll get into that afterwards. But I just wanted to preface the news about the ruling against the blackmailers of Lee Sun Kyun in the context of there's still a bigger story that's being hidden here, and we should not take our eye off the ball, because that's what she's counting on, and that's what has worked for her in the past. So what happened to the two blackmailers? Remember, there was two blackmailers of Lee Sun Kyun. Lee Sun Kyun, yes, you may say, entered the gates of hell. I mean, he went into that good place thinking that it was good, but it ended up being extremely bad. Nonetheless, the problem with these types of situations is that Especially, I think, a man of his generation, he may be thinking that it is similar to the way that those types of nighttime establishments were before, where there was somewhat of an upper ceiling on how much trouble you could get into. But the problem with these high-end places of recently, after I guess the 2020s, or maybe starting in that Burning Sun era, they kept upping the ante of the things that you could do there. And this so-called good place was creating a reputation for itself of having the good stuff that VIPs could partake in out of the public eye under a very highly filtered system of who gets access into there. And yes, the dairy princess, who was accused of being a middleman supplier in Burning Sun, was also implicated in the Good Place incident. However, so let's just say Lee Sun Kyun had some things that he could have been blackmailed on, and he was being investigated by the police, but the police didn't find any good stuff in his system, but he was still being blackmailed by two workers at the Good Place. So that's why you gotta be, you can't just think like, okay, well, I'm gonna go into the Good Place and it'll be all good because, with the amount of money I'm paying, they're supposed to make sure that everything stays good. But he got double crossed by two workers at the Good Place. So what were the sentences? So if you already kind of know the case and you just want the sentences, Miss A, who was essentially the room salon mini madam, who swindled about 300 million won from Lee Sun Kyun, so $200,000 to $300,000, got, 3.5 years in prison for extortion. The other blackmailer, actress B, got 4 years and 2 months in prison. So 3.5 years plus, and then a different girl, 4 years and 2 months. However, the 3.5-year girl also had separate drug charges, and I believe that was 2 years. It may have been negotiated down to 1, but it's about 2. So she had 2 separate charges. So now she's facing at least 5 years in jail. And the other one, 4 years and 2 months. Prosecutors wanted 7 each for this blackmail situation. Now, the second blackmailer only extorted about 50 million won. Why did she get a longer sentence? Because she was supposed to be the mastermind behind this blackmailer and even manipulated the mini madam into this plot. This was a ruling in the first round of the trial, which started, I believe, early this year. In December, a lot of the judges, they like to, dump all their rulings. So that's why you get like a Christmas surprise or Christmas gift or Christmas, oh my God, big white elephant. But this doesn't mean that it's over. They can still appeal. And then if they don't like the appeal, they can go to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court actually, accepts their case, they can go up to there. But it's not completely over for them. And while they are going through their trials, I believe they are detained. So these two, I would definitely count them as graduates of Jezebel Institute of Treachery, and at least they have been detained. Now, before we get to the advanced graduate PhD of the Jezebel Institute of Treachery, Miss Milk Princess hiding over in Thailand, let's go over how they actually, if you want a quick recap of how they actually did the swindling of Lee Sun Kyun and what a horrible, tight situation that he was stuck in. Now, all of this started to unravel, if you remember, in the summer of 2023. So not this past summer, but the summer right before. That's when The Good Place, got good and exposed. And so there were all of these investigations going on into this VIP high-end nighttime establishment. On the surface, it's supposed to just be the same as, everything else, where you just be drinking with girls that are workers of the establishment, and maybe something can happen afterwards, however you negotiate. The problem with The Good Place was, I guess, it's similar to the way the Burning Sun incident unfolded, was how do you differentiate yourself among your competition, and how do you get people to come back? Because we were in a climate of people just kind of scaling back, I believe, on this whole getting crazy at night. And so Good Place was the plan, the good stuff. And we were also in a climate in Korea where the public authorities, everybody, still to this day even, and then even with the whole martial law declaration, one of the accusations was that Korea's turning into a den of drugs. And so there was a very, very crackdown mode on this. So they started digging up the evidence of The Good Place in June, July, August of 2023. That's when they found, oh my goodness, there's the Dairy Princess. I thought the Dairy Princess, after all of her getting kind of a slap on the wrist for previous charges, she was living in a camper van in Jeju with her grandma. They even did the whole media play right after she got out of jail, but not 6 months later, she's already at The Good Place in Gangnam, in the heart of Gangnam, bringing the good stuff. So they found her, and then they found the two madams as well. So then they started to create a list, and then a celebrity started to get onto this list. So again, what we have seen before is that the masterminds that are behind the scenes that really have no name, and Miss Dairy Princess should have no name. She should be kind of incognito. I think she wanted to be incognito to a certain extent. But in order to save them and keep themselves incognito, they're throwing out people in front of the bus. And it seems as if the strategy, Jezebel Institute of Treachery, here's a lesson. First line strategy are the people that you sacrifice who are your workers. So like these mini madams and the people who have been in a very compromised situation where there's a lot of things that you can get nabbed on, and then a celebrity that's attached to it. And then who's the one feeding the information from behind? Yes, it is most likely Dairy Princess. We've seen in another case where actually it had been confirmed that Dairy Princess had run a move like that even within the past 6 months. Now, the problem is that Lee Sun Kyun went and started to get too close to these people, and especially the mini madam. So we'll call them Madam A and Actress B, because Actress B was in 2 little movies, but she's sort of being touted as a former actress. So Mistress A was definitely doing some mistressing, and Lee Sun Kyun would hang out with her at her house, and the floor above, Actress B was living right in the floor above. Mistress A, Actress B were prison sisters. When they had, before they got their jobs at The Good Place, they were in the big house and they were on friendly terms, and then they bonded, and then when they got out, they started working at this place. So, and then they started to be very close, almost too close. We heard recordings of Actress B referring to Mistress A's mom as her mom, but Mistress A's mom was even just started to be suspicious of Actress B. So in this situation where it's just a triangle between Mistress A, Lee Sun Kyun, and Actress B is the biggest villain of the story. And so Actress B would know a lot of these intimate details of Mistress A's comings and goings, because they would talk, and she would talk about Lee Sun Kyun and maybe other famous people. So she had a lot of information. She also seemed to have been able to hack into her Mistress A's phone, or at least get some data. Because the con that Actress B started to play was that she was pretending to be a hacker. And how in the Jezebel Institute of Treachery senior thesis do you blackmail somebody directly but not be the direct blackmailer? This is how. So basically, Actress B wanted to get some money out of Lee Sun Kyun. Maybe she was even jealous, and so she wanted to find some way where she gets a lot of money from Lee Sun Kyun. So what she did was that she pretended to be a hacker on Mistress A's phone. And so starting to threaten her own friend, her own prison sister, but pretending to be a hacker, demanding, I think it was at first like 350 million won, or like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she backed up her claims with information that she either talked to her prison sister about, or data that she was able to get from her phone, like pictures and stuff like that, timestamps of like, oh, we know when Lee Sun Kyun, you came into Mistress A's house at this time and left at this time. Well, she just needed to peek out the curtains. You know, that's some old school like hacking and surveillance. So she just needed to establish credibility that she was a hacker. It does seem at least in the beginning, that Mistress A really thought it was a hacker, and she was not suspecting her prison sister who lived upstairs. And then so she did what the hacker was requesting, essentially, and asked Lee Sun Kyun for money. He sent about 300 million won, so that $300,000, and then Mistress A was supposed to give it to the hacker. Now, that's where it got a little complicated, and that's where it started to expose a little bit of funny business with the prison sister, because the prison sister needs to somehow get the money. And it seemed like this was going to be like in cash. So how was she going to be at the site? So then the hacker started to say that bring along your prison sister to the money exchange. And the prison sister upstairs was saying like, oh, I've also been harassed and I'm being targeted by this same hacker. And so somehow she was trying to rope herself into the group. This is, the sloppy Jezebel Institute of Treachery is that you have to make a logical leap, and the way that you do that is through some sort of like sensory overload and fear. Like, oh, people were pounding on my door, said Actress B, and they're demanding that I be involved in the money handoff. So then even the mom of Mistress A was just like, that doesn't make sense. Go ask the security people to run the CCTV. And she was giving all sorts of excuses why she couldn't. Now, then it turned out that this is the flaw of Mistress A. She's just thinking like, why I gotta give this money to the hacker? Maybe I could pocket this money and just tell tell Lee Sun Kyun that I gave the money, because during this time is when Mistress A was also being investigated by the police, and she needed money too to probably buy an expensive lawyer. And so then her prison sister, who's pretending to be the hacker, is upset and is trying to get the money from her. Not working. So then the prison sister herself says that she's being a target of this hacker too, and then goes directly, just bypasses Mistress A, goes directly to Lee Sun Kyun and demands about $100,000, and he only sends over about $50,000. So that's where in the court, it has this final figure of Mistress A extorted 300 million won, and actress B extorted 50 million won. And then you're like, well, why did Mistress B get a longer prison sentence? Well, actress B get a longer prison sentence because actress B was using Mistress A as a conduit to get all of the money. And so she was the mastermind in this situation. So that is a very horrible, horrible place to be for Lee Sun Kyun. So all of this blackmail was happening in September 2023. And then a month later, October 2023, is when the investigation was heating up, and then even Lee Sun Kyun's name was released. But the investigation was heating up for Mistress A and actress B. And then October is when the police started to investigate Lee Sun Kyun as well. He went in October, then in November, and then also in December. And then by the third time in December, he definitely was saying, like, this is wrong. I'm the victim here. I am being extorted. And it looked like he had some fire in his belly. So that's why this was extremely concerning to me. And I don't buy the official story of him unaliving himself, because we saw also in a previous instance with the Dairy Queen heiress that when her husband at the time, I think they actually did get married, her husband at the time turned on the Dairy Queen and said, like, look, I have a fire in my belly and I'm going back to the police and I'm going to rat you out. Suddenly he got unalived. And they said that it was his choice. Very, very suspicious circumstances. Was there justice served in this case for Lee Sun Kyun? I would say it's a very mild sense of justice. The court did sentence these two blackmailers to prison. It was significantly less than what the prosecution themselves wanted, which was 7 years, which in some sense to me also seems like that was not as long as probably Lee Sun Kyun's wife probably wanted them to be like there for 30 plus years. So already 7 years as the target seemed to be on the milder side. The 3 years and 6 months and then the 4 years and 2 months that were handed out seems also to be mild. And it could get even milder because these two girls are definitely most likely going to appeal. And during the appeal process, that number might get shaved down even more. Now, the reason why I still don't think that there is justice at all is that the Dairy Queen is still at large. Who is this Dairy Queen, this Dairy Princess? Yes, she is from a very privileged family. Her grandfather started Namyang Dairy, one of the major milk producers in Korea. And once you're in that dairy business, honey, you also selling the cookies on the side. So, snacks and a lot of other businesses. And that company itself has already been in the news for very abusive bullying practices against their own supply, like bullying the local independent convenience store owner to buy more of their products when nobody's buying them. So usually here's another Jezebel Institute of Treachery is that you need to clear this milk product because it expires. But you also have been able in your confectionery business or ramen business or whatever other business create a hit product. And I forget what the hit product was. It was either like some cookies or snacks or ramen. And what you tell the convenience store owners that, well, we're not going to supply you this hit product that people come to your store for if you don't buy more of this dairy that's about to go bad. And so a lot of these small business owners were being squeezed because they're basically eating the losses for the dairy product to save their foot traffic from the customers who are looking for this hit, product. Anyhow, so I'm saying is that that's kind of environment that she's coming from. And she got famous for her own actions with getting in trouble. So anytime a chaebol princess gets into trouble like this, especially with substances, that makes the news. But you may have known her for being the former fiance of Park Yoochun of JYJ. JYJ was a splinter off K-pop group, immensely popular, from the more even immensely popular 동방신기 or TVXQ. So he was a star. He is a K-pop star. But he got roped into a lot of this trouble. Also, yes, he walked through the gates of hell himself, but he even had a tattoo on his arm of, it's being said that it looked very much like the Dairy Princess, and then he got it removed during the era when they were doing the investigations. So in April of 2019, Park Yoochun and Hwang Hana were being investigated. They announced their coupledom and fiancé-ishness in September of 2017. So they were well established as like this sort of celebrity couple, but it looked like, Miss Dairy Queen was getting him into all sorts of mess. Then May 2019, it's being alleged, like while the investigations were going on, Hwang Hana threatened Park Yoochun with secret nude photos of him. So that probably is the thing that came out to the surface, but it seems like she has this modus operandi of using blackmail to get herself further off the scent of authorities and investigators, and then also rope other people to take the fall for her. After Park Yoochun, there was another dude that she had a shotgun wedding with, and he also took the blame, in terms of when there was a police investigation and his testimony. He at first took the blame for her actions, saying that he was the one that did it. Park Yoochun also similarly tried to protect. You seeing a pattern with the Jezebel. They ain't necessarily bunny uncles, but this is just, probably in the next vegetable patch over. And so he was trying to protect at first Hwang Hana, and it seems as if when that doesn't work anymore, she starts to threaten with information. There is also testimony in other cases that she even would give, the people that she's asking to take the fall for her information and say, like, look, negotiate with the police with this, black book of information, and I'm going to give it to you, and then you take the fall for me, and then, you negotiate with the police with this. Another Jezebel tactic. So in July 2019, Park Yoochun was sentenced to 10 months in jail, but it was suspended for 2 years, which means he didn't have to go in, and he had to pay a fine. And now everything is hunky-dory. He completed his probation without any violations. And he did suffer a lot from this incident where basically he can't have a career in Korea. And we do see that he had been engaged to a tycoon's daughter in Thailand. and was spending a lot of time there. So it seemed like in 2000, definitely in 2022, 2023, his engagement lasted over a year. But in December of 2023, when all of this was going on last year, he had called off his engagement with the Thai heiress. And I was like, oh gosh, what is going to happen in this type of situation? It does seem that like, I've heard some stories about like, actual regular folk, running cross continents to go snatch up somebody they love or think they love or whatever. So I was just like, oh my gosh, is Hung Hana gonna like show up in Thailand and try to get back her, JYJ centerpiece? And oh my goodness, y'all, she did show up in Thailand in March of 2024. So all this stuff, right? Lee Sun Kyun passed away December 2023. These trials begin against Mistress A and Actress B in January 2024. February 2024, the whereabouts of Hwang Hana, don't know where she is. She surfaces in March 2024 in Thailand. And they know this really officially because she said, oh, I lost my passport and I need to get a new passport. And then so she even went into the South Korean embassy in Thailand to try to get a new passport. But then they're like, girl, you on the run. And as far as we know now, she is still in Thailand on the run, even though there's an Interpol Red Alert on her. And even though there's a news report that as of September of this year in 2024, she walking around shopping at 7-Eleven, talking to like some locals she, befriended on the street. I mean, she walking around. So, I think that milk money, that Korean milk money probably goes really far in Thailand to bribe a few people, because there's news reports in May of June of this year that the Thai officials were on this manhunt trying to respond to this Interpol Red Alert to capture this dairy princess and then extradite her back to South Korea. But in September, she's just walking around like, white shorts after Labor Day, getting something from the corner store. But the good news with Park Yoochun, it seems as if that he had fled, probably found out that Hwang Hana was coming and left. And so he has been working on his comeback. He's already had a fan greeting. Now, whether you agree with this or not, that's up to you to decide. But he has definitely been busy working. And then he has a lot of plans set up to be an artist, promote his album next year, and the market being focused on Japan. So I hope all the best for Park Yoochun. And I think that's a great way for him to, move on and rebuild his life. And I'm really glad he got, he hightailed it out of there. So Miss Dairy Queen has been in Thailand since March. We don't know if she's found her way to maybe leave Thailand, but definitely as of September, there's documented evidence that she would still be hanging out in Thailand. But what happened at the end of June and going into July of this year, where it looked like, what the heck, she's still pulling her Jezebel Institute of Treachery stunts. This is when Interpol, yes, issued a red notice for Hwang Hana, but what other distractions were there? There was a distraction with a baseball player and his ex-girlfriend. So while this baseball player, Hong, I think he's from KCC, I don't know, I don't follow Korean baseball, but definitely, oh wait, it's not baseball, maybe it's basketball. And his name is Hong, and his ex-girlfriend, they were somewhat, I guess, connected to Huang Hana, definitely the ex-girlfriend. Now, the ex-girlfriend turned on Huang Hana because I believe she might even be the one in the video where Huang Hana says that, oh, I have something that's going to make you feel good. Do you want to try? And then the ex-girlfriend said that Huang Hana injected her with some substance. And then when she came to, she was throwing up, and then she saw like there was needles. And so she was just like, okay, what the heck is this? And then so she went on the record against Huang Hana. Now it looks like, this is what entertainment news reporters are claiming, is that Huang Hana wanted revenge. Oh, she wanted revenge. And then so she went to a YouTuber and fed this dude information, and then he tried to make the ex-girlfriend not look good. Of course, this basketball player is all wrapped up in this, but it doesn't look like he is really an active part in this. It's just that because he's sort of famous and his ex-girlfriend's like in this war with Huang Hana, like it's bringing more attention to it. But it does show this, again, a repeat of a playbook of taking the attention away from yourself by throwing in some juicy kind of scandal regarding somebody who has some fame to take the heat off yourself. Now, this YouTuber, Caracula, we've talked about him before in this because, he did uncover some good information before, and obviously he has good sources, but he is not doesn't seem to be very reputable because he's one of the YouTubers involved in the whole Su Yang blackmail case. Different case. While we was talking about the whole New Jeans mama, we weren't able to get to Su Yang, but maybe we'll get to her. Anyhow, he was being fed information that was definitely designed to take down the girlfriend of this basketball player because this girlfriend said bad stuff about Dairy Princess. Dairy Princess was upset. So officially, as of July 2024, Thai immigration authorities were searching for Huang Hana, the Dairy Princess, and even responding to Interpol's arrest warrant. There's an arrest. So does that mean an Interpol arrest warrant really has no power? Or does that mean her milk money be buying some Thai spring rolls over in Bangkok and keeping these authorities away from her, even as she strolls down the street to 7-Eleven? And we do have the video evidence from that because it was reported on YTN, and some entertainment reporter, I don't know what kind of beef they might have or what kind of budget or what kind of low point in the cycle in the news there was, but he went all the way over to Thailand and sort of stalked her to get this footage of her outside, going to 7-Eleven and talking to, friends on the street. And so she had entered Thailand on March 13th, 2024. She said that, she doesn't have her passport or was lost or stolen. Oh, upon arrival. So she probably lost it somewhere else. And then she was able to somehow, I guess, get onto the airplane. Or maybe she lost it in the airport or in the airplane. But anyhow, she had to say like, I don't have my passport in Thailand. And then she went to the South Korean embassy in Thailand and asked for a new passport. Can you imagine the audacity, the privilege in there? And it sounds like she's still hiding, but she doesn't seem like she's taking much effort at all in hiding. Now, the thing that scares me a little bit is that, before we were saying that, Miss Dairy Princess, I highly doubted that she was actually like the big kingpin supplier or something. It sounded like she was probably like more of this socialite middleman, but it seems like, if she may want to start milking the cows. She may be the black sheep, but she's still a sheep of, conglomerate thinking, and definitely has gone through her own sort of executive training program. She chose her passion. She chose her niche. That's what scares me, because this seems to be the next step, because she is not gonna give up. So, in the end, I still think that it is good progress that we saw this ruling against the blackmailers of Lee Sun Kyun, that there is at least some line drawn in the sand of this being unacceptable behavior. However, I think it's a very faint line, and it's still a line in sand that can get erased and moved. However, the big elephant in the room is still that we have to bring in the Dairy Princess for her time in court again. I mean, she already knows, she probably has her favorite seat picked out again. But she's still on the run. And it seems like there's not a lot of effort anymore to try to find the Dairy Princess. So maybe she's not at 7-Eleven anymore. Maybe she went over to Family Mart. Go check both convenience stores. So what do you guys think? Put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.